phone going to be the center of our lives? Or could it be, I mean, at the AT&T hackathon, they had smart hats, smart hoodies, smart glasses. Does it have to be the phone?
I think that we have our consumer lab that is doing research on consumers all around the world in different markets. I think a lot comes to the conclusion that John talks about, that you don't want to have 15 different devices that have different type of connectivity. One will be somehow a remote, and I think that's, so we agree to that, and it seems like consumers doing it as well. But sometimes it's hard to really see what is a connected device 10 years from now. I mean, what is exciting me, I mean, is very much that any industry leader you will meet today in any industry, they are thinking about what can I do with mobility, broadband, and the cloud. How can I transform my business? And if it's transport or cars, or if it's a logistic company, if it's a TV company, media, all of them are thinking about it. 5 years ago, this was a discussion between a company like Ericsson and an AT&T and a Qualcomm, and then you have the ecosystem. Today, it has to be a car manufacturer, it has to be a logistic companies or whatever. That is exciting me. I mean, just meet the people doing bearings for a while ago, you know. I mean, they are thinking about how can you put the sensor in the bearings connected to the network so they know exactly how the bearing, the performance on the bearing. I mean, who can think about that? These guys sitting and thinking about how to use the wireless networks in order to have better performance for the consumers on the bearing. So everyone is thinking about that. Is what's exciting me. Of course, doing networks all around the world, this is what we are doing.
Yeah, and I've been, you know, I've dealt with your networks. I've been to your network society headquarters in Stockholm. I've talked to the guys. You do tremendous research in that area. Talk a little bit, Hans, about some of the specific initiatives in healthcare, for example. I know you guys are also interested in talking about healthcare, in education, in smart cities. What do you think is an area, perhaps there are some young entrepreneurs in the audience who want to come up with a new idea, a new area to innovate? What really excites you?
We just spent some 24 hours with thought leaders from the whole world on on cities. I mean, just give you two facts. I mean, by 2050, 70% of the Earth population will live in big cities. I mean, enormous. I mean, in order to cater for the infrastructure in those cities is basically impossible. I think somebody calculated you need 9 planets. Then you need to start thinking about innovation. And innovation will, of course, come from when you start using technology in a totally different way in the cities. Maybe you don't own your own car. It's car sharing, of course, built on mobility network, even driverless cars. You need to have sensors connecting when you use the power grid. You need to think totally different if this planet is going to survive. And that are the things that we are sort of trying to get inputs from different stakeholders to understand how you need to build the networks in the future. So that's just one example. Then you can take education. We all know that education, and John and I had a discussion yesterday, how you can transform and do education totally different today, digitally, and what is needed from networks, video conferencing, all of that. So I think that's what we are exploring a lot to understand how we're going to spend our $5 billion a year in research and development so the networks can handle it, so John and his customers can actually get benefit from it. I think that's what's exciting me when you go into this second phase, which we call the network society.